Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to the Adrenaline Impact GTS Group 4 Invitational. I'm your host for this evening, Max Palmer, and with me in the studio we have our race director, Kara Alang, watching on track. How's it looking out there right now? Absolutely. Having a chat with them and giving out the briefing, they seem to be quite excited indeed. So there's going to be a lot of action out there. We're at the legendary Autodromo Internazionale Monza, the Formula One home for the Italian Grand Prix, ever since 1950. And speaking of history, which this place has a lot of, Gran Turismo 2 is a name that's really quite familiar with a lot of simulation fans out there. Released in 1997, it was the first video game to really push accurate driving physics into the household, and it's been one of the best-selling PlayStation games out there. So really a very exciting platform there. And Gran Turismo Sport, it's a unique racing game in the Gran Turismo franchise, in that it is a esports and competitive version of Gran Turismo. So what we have out there is the Group 4 cars, 330 horsepower and 1,270 kilograms in terms of weight. That's 2,800 pounds in old money. But absolutely fantastic stuff out there. Should make for some pretty brilliant racing as well. So the cars have been tuned to specifically fit that 330 horsepower limit. So we have some quite awesome cars there. Quite a few cars being strangled and quite a few cars that have been turned up for the race. One of the cars that have been tuned down is the Spirit GT3 car being driven there. Spirit GT3 driving the Ferrari 458 GT3 car. I do apologize, that's a 488 GT3. But yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff in there. But what makes Gran Turismo is the collection of cars that are out there right now. So he was in first place, but now he's dropped down into second. 5 minutes and 47 seconds left in this session right now. Mio Hafiz is right now in first place, followed by Sugi, Spirit GT3, and Danish Zafran in fourth place. Chai FRT in 5th, Ju YD in 6th place, and Nizam Mustafa in 7th. But he's just dropped down to 8th there because it looks like Chick Pao has gone up into 5th place. There's quite a lot of drivers out there really pushing the cars quite hard. It's quite quick. Being able to manage 201 around Monza, considering the car weighs as much as it does, with 330 horsepower, 1,270 kilos, is almost 1.3 tons, so quite heavy for racing. And also with hard compound tires, they're all on the same exact compound of tires. This is going to be a very exciting race indeed. But Suge still pushing very hard out there to try and reclaim pole position. He's down by 0.3 seconds right now at the moment, but what a pretty track out there, isn't it? Oh, well, they're a fantastic group of people there. Galeri Kereta is the leading automotive lifestyle platform here on social media in Malaysia, and they are constantly giving you the hottest builds and the greatest car-related lifestyle events out there, really showcasing the best of what Malaysia and Asia has to offer when it comes to modified cars. So a really cool bunch of guys, and they have some fantastic merch as well. So do look them up on Shopee. They have a few new products on the line there, including some face masks, very apt for the current situation there here in Malaysia, and also a few nice t-shirts as well. So pretty cool stuff. Absolutely. Thank you very, very much. And speaking of face masks, we're all still under the MCO here in Malaysia, the PKP. Lockdown is currently enforced. So hopefully you guys are staying home unless you absolutely have to head out, and keeping yourself safe. Keep that social distance and keep your hands clean and your face covered. And hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. But for now, we'll bring some virtual motorsports right to you on screen there. Mio Hafiz is the man currently in front in that Cayman GT4, running the Alpha Tauri livery there, which looks very nice indeed. So, yeah. So that's another cool thing about Gran Turismo Sport, is that it's the first Gran Turismo title that actually has very detailed, very accurate livery editors, so you can really see the guys truly get creative with the paint schemes out there. So it's some pretty nice colorful cars out there on the grid right now, and it should be a great race to watch. Yes, Taichi Yagami, one of the legends, absolute legends in the GTS community here in Asia, in Malaysia in particular, doing very well for himself nowadays, also in other sims. It just goes to show that if you are quick in Gran Turismo Sport, you can make it in other sims as well. So it's a nice starting point, and I guess it's also one of the most accessible starting points to get into e-racing. A lot of people sort of call it more of a simcade kind of experience there, but it is approachable enough that if you're quick on a controller, you can really do well in the championships. But right now we're watching there Nizam Mustafa in the C7 Corvette, thundering his way around in 6th place. Now the interesting thing here, with only 330 horsepower on tap, a lot of these cars have been detuned from what they would be as standard. The Corvette certainly will be, the Ferrari will be as well, and it'll be interesting to see how they tune the cars, because that's another thing with Gran Turismo, is the tuning options that Gran Turismo really opened up. It's one of the first video games to feature that. Way back in 1997, Gran Turismo first launched on the PlayStation, and it was the first video game to really allow you to modify the car in terms of performance, as well as tune the car and set the car up for individual races and individual tracks there. So it's been a long-running tradition. To get the most out of a car in Gran Turismo, you really do have to tweak the cars a little bit around there. You can see there that was Expert Champ. Unfortunately had a little bit of a snafu there, but Chip Powell has managed to get around him in that Petronas liveried Ferrari. The session appears to have finished, and we will be getting ready to go for the next round, or the next session there. There's 2 minutes of dead time, I guess, left in the session. You see there, Iqbal Suji, Mr. Mio, a bit fast, yeah, I agree. But yeah, interestingly there, you got a glimpse of Expert Champ's Bugatti Veyron. So you must be wondering, how they managed to get a Bugatti Veyron into a Group 4 race. Well, it's very simple. These cars can be tuned up in terms of engine powers, but they can also be tuned down. There you can see that Bugatti Veyron, all 1,000 horsepower, but he's left most of them back in the pits. 330 horsepower is the limit for the race. 1,270 kilos or 2,800 pounds is the weight limit, and they're on hard tires as well. So it's going to be very tricky for these guys to try and hustle the car around the track. Now we're on board with Arsengal MD in the McLaren, heading out there to do just a little bit of practice before we get underway. Beautiful, beautiful cars there, and beautiful pictures as well. trust Polyphony Digital to get the most out of the system there. With their knowledge of the hardware, they really can bring out some pretty amazing results out of a PlayStation 4. So right now we've got 15 seconds left before the session switches over, and we'll be able to jump in and really put that foot down and get some excitement. Awesome stuff, and that is the qualifying result. 157 for Mio. Absolutely flying race time there. Mio Hafiz really putting the foot down. So that's Mio up ahead. A lot of Caymans up at the front of the field there. Sugi in second place and Danish Zafran in third. It's Caymans 1, 2 and 3. Spirit GT3 there in the Ferrari, and further back the Corvette of Nizam Mustafa as well. But quite a few interesting cars out there. We've got a couple of Veyrons, looks like, and a few other exotics further down the field there. So this could be very exciting stuff indeed. And they're away. It looks like they're heading off into turn 1. This is going to be quite spectacular stuff indeed, coming into the first chicane here at the legendary Monza circuit. Coming to the braking zone there, you can see cars going too wide coming into the chicane. It's going to be very difficult to try and find their way around the big sausage curbs there, but they managed to make it nice and clean out of there. But it looks like number 5 has spun. That was, I believe, Spirit GT3 there. He's gone all the way down to 10th place, so that's going to be a really hard one to try and claw his way up the field. Very, very unfortunate incident there from Spirit GT3, but as you can see there, there's a few more drivers that have picked up a penalty there. It looks like Chai has got a 4-second penalty. That's going to really hinder his performance throughout the course of the race. 30-minute race right now, as you can see there, the time remaining on the bottom right-hand side of the screen there. Zuki has dropped down into 3rd place. Danish Zafran managing to overtake and go up into 2nd. Mio Hafiz still in the lead. And whoa, look at Danish getting the car sideways there, really pushing very hard indeed. Now coming down towards Ascari, the run up to Ascari here, another difficult braking zone. This is where the track is at its narrowest. Hard on the brakes there, over the curbs. You have to be quite aggressive over the curbs here to be quick, especially in these Group 4 cars here. Hard on the throttle there, and now he's at the slipstream zone. Let's see if Sugi can get past Danish Zafran right now. They're getting very close to each other. Danish covering the inside there, but Sugi's going to try and squeeze his car onto the inside, getting hard into the brakes there. Let's see if Sugi can actually make it work, going around the inside. Danish Zafran hanging on to the outside, almost running the car clean off the road there, trying to keep the speed up, but Sugi manages to get himself up into 2nd place, but it's not over yet. They're still on the front straight there. They're just about even, but Sugi looks like he's going to be able to claim that position just in time to come into the braking zone there. But the battle's not yet won, because now they're coming into an outbraking opportunity there, and it looks like Danish is on the inside line there. He almost manages to make that overtake maneuver work, but unfortunately he loses it over the curbs and he lets Sugi through. This is a battle for the lower rungs of the podium positions there, so they're going to be pushing the cars quite hard in order to try and get an advantage. But Danish Zafran there looks like for now he'll have to hang back and try and think about how to attack once again. But all of this battling means that Mio Hafiz is able to get a bit of a gap there. It's already over 1 second, 1.07 seconds right now for Mio Hafiz. And of course, when you're battling between 2 cars, it does mean that both cars are slowing down a little bit. Ooh, Danish Zafran almost gets sideways there, pushing the car very hard indeed. Now he's getting into the clutches of Nizam Mustafa in the Corvette. Behind him, the C7 Corvette, looking very menacing in the back of that Cayman. Another slipstream attempt there from Nizam Mustafa coming into the turn here. into Ascari, I was going to say that, and looks like it wasn't quite close enough, but could Nizam Mustafa have another overtaking opportunity coming into Parabolica? Let's see if this is possible. Danish Safran still in third position, but he might lose that position. He might head down a little bit further more, but it looks like Nizam is going to stay behind him for at least one more lap. Can he make an overtaking move on the front straight though? Let's have a look. Getting very close there, and you can see behind him the gaps beginning to open up quite a bit here, coming into the braking zone. We'll see if the braking, if he managed to close up in braking. He has a look, but there was a bit of a half-hearted look there from Nizam Mustafa, but all he's planning on doing right now is getting as close as he can to Danish Safran. But like I was saying before, Leo is now really pulling away from the rest of the pack there because of that battle between Suge and Danish Safran, and now Suge is also pulling away in second place due to that battle. Expat Champ right now in 8th place, our resident Indonesian driver in the Bugatti Veyron, really pushing that car hard. The Indonesian resident, I would have to say. He is, of course, an expat. Otherwise, obviously, he wouldn't have the name Expat Champ. Sometimes obvious things are literally obvious. But it's quite interesting to see that they managed to BOP a Bugatti Veyron all the way down to 330 horsepower there. He seems to actually be doing quite well, keeping the car up ahead. He's got a GTR and a Ferrari 488 behind him as well, so really keeping the cars up in the top of the field, or up in the middle of the field, should we say there. So we've got a few comments down there. Faraz Yusuf saying, wow. And as we can see there, Iqbal Suji, oi, SPM. And William Lee said, Julian spun. Didn't quite catch to see if Julian did in fact spin, but we'll probably be able to catch that some other time. But thanks a lot there to Shafrizal Shafli and Akan Mapre for those likes. Do hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and while you're there you can head on down there and comment along with some of the other guys. You'll see a few names there from the GTS community watching the race on with much interest, and along with that as well we have also our YouTube channel, so do go over there, hit that subscribe button there, like the Facebook page, and if you're feeling generous, share the sim racing love around and let other folks know about some fantastic sim racing content coming up in the next few weeks. So for now, we'll have a look back at the track there, and Danish Safran, it looks like he's finally able to pull away from Nizam Mustafa. Possibly Nizam made a slight mistake, but it looks like the battle has been pitched backwards there. It looks like there was a penalty there to Nizam's car, and Chai also has a penalty as well. He's going to have to serve that sometime soon. Nizam Mustafa tried to serve the penalty all the way around the lap. It looks like Chai also tried to serve the penalty. The way they're going to have to serve the penalty is going to drop their pace down quite significantly in order to get that counting down there. You can see there under brakes it does occasionally drop down just a little bit based on the average speed of their track. But Chai and Nizam Mustafa both battling quite hard there coming into the final corner. It looks like Nizam's going to cover the inside line there, which means that Chai is going to have to go around the outside. It's going to be very, very close between the two of them. Will Chai be able to make a overtake around the outside? No, he tries to cut back in. He's going to try and draft his way down the main straight there. Remember, they're going to have to serve the penalty sometime or another. And they're going to go side by side coming up into the main straight there. Darking and diving, and both just like in position. They're trying to get themselves into position to overtake. Nizam goes on the attack there, so Chai managing to make that overtaking maneuver work, but only briefly as Nizam takes back the position. Absolutely fantastic battling there, and it's not over yet. Chai still on the attack, with his foot flat to the floor in that Cayman GT4. But still, 1.2 seconds penalty there. They're going to have to really try and look for an opportunity to lose that 1.2 seconds. It sounds very easy to back off for just over a second, but it loses you so much time, and especially when you're battling, you're really going to have to try and look for a braking zone or something like that. It looks like Nizam's actually managed to try and overtake around the outside and drop a little bit of penalty time here, so it's going to be big brain stuff there from Nizam Mustafa to try and get that to work. He's dropped even more time there. As soon as that penalty time drops, Nizam is pretty confident that he'll be able to even sit behind Chai and end up ahead in the standings, but that's not for sure. It's a long race. We're only 10 minutes in to this 30-minute race, and 2/3 of the race still to go. But quite an interesting battle there from these two drivers, trying to balance the penalty time and trying to drop penalty time as much as possible. As you can see, they're coming into the braking zone there. Just a little bit more penalty time drop there. Now it's less than a second for both of them. 0.8 for Chai and 0.6 for Nizam. It means that Nizam doesn't have to lose that much time in order to try and stay with Chai. Chai just got that little few tenths left to go. Let's see how they work it in the braking zone here. It looks like the braking zone here, Chai only managed to drop a single tenth of a second, and it looks like Nizam's going all the way out wide. If he's not careful, he might have to pick up even more penalty times there. So these two drivers still pushing as hard as they can go. Over 10 minutes already passed. Just a quick look at the top 5 there. Mio Hafiz is in first place with Suge in second place right there. So that's Mio in first, and Suge slowly but surely catching Mio up ahead. They were over a second between those two drivers. Now it's down to 0.8 of a second there. They're going to try and balance the tyre wear. Of course, hard tyres not too big of an issue over a 30-minute race, but they're still going to have to think about it as they go throughout the course of the race. You don't really want to burn up your car trying to catch the driver up ahead there. It looks like Suge, however, dropped a bit of time there, but Mio has picked up a penalty. This could really have some big implications for the lead, and it's a big one. It's a 2.5 second penalty. So these chicanes are really very tricky to try and get past and get around there. So this has really changed the complexion of the race for both drivers. Will Mio be able to lose that penalty in as efficient a way as possible? One of the big places to try and lose penalty time is through here. He drops down a couple of tenths there, but he's still got a long way to go to try and get rid of that penalty. If they don't serve that penalty out on track, they are going to have that added onto their final race results, and they really want to try and avoid that as much as possible. It's going to be easier for them to try and it looks like he's going to just have to back off just a little bit more, down to 1.4 seconds there, and that means Suge is in the lead. So thanks to that penalty, Mio Hafiz drops down from first to second place. Suge is in first place. So we have a change for the lead there with 18 minutes to go in the race. Lap 6 coming into lap 7, and Suge leads the race as it stands. Still quite a sizable penalty there. He had a big lift down the back straight there just to try and lose as much penalty time as possible, but it looks like he's still got 1.4 seconds. Like I said, 2 or 3 seconds is quite a lot of time. If you get a 4-second slow down penalty, it's going to be really hard to try and serve that and still keep your positions. So the critical thing here is to try and avoid those penalties as much as possible. For those of you at home who are just new to us or coming to us from another sim, this is the penalty system in Gran Turismo Sport. The idea being, if you cut a course or if you get yourself into an accident, you're going to be awarded penalty time, which you'll have to try and lose that penalty time. You have to try and slow down and decrease that penalty counter as much as possible throughout the course of the race. Otherwise, that penalty time will be added to the final race results. So right now it's 1.4 seconds for Mio Hafiz, as you can see there on the screen, with Suge up in front with no penalty points. The trick for Suge is going to be to try and drive as cleanly as possible throughout the course of the race there. Mio Hafiz losing quite a lot of time there, 1.4 seconds between Suge and Mio Hafiz. Mio really pushing that Porsche as hard as he can. He's dropped a little bit of time there, but it really is a case of trying to just find the braking zones and find the areas on the straights where you can give up that time without giving up too much track position, too much real estate, if you will. But this battle, I'm sure, will be going on for quite some time. Meanwhile, Nizam Mustafa and Chai FRT, they're both still going at it, hammer and tongs, and Chai appears to have gotten the penalty this time, 3.1 seconds for Chai and Nizam Mustafa. This battle going on for 4th and 5th place. Danish Zafran there, kind of in no man's land in 3rd. But Nizam Mustafa and Chai FRT, they were battling quite close with each other. In fact, both had very similar penalties, but now Chai's picked up another one. 3.1 seconds is his penalty, but he's got the draft on Nizam. He's going to try and overtake him, try and maybe get rid of that penalty time in as clean a way as possible, whilst keeping Nizam behind him. So that's going to be a tall ask for Chai. The other option, of course, is to try and pull up a gap between himself and Nizam, but that's not going to be very easy. That Corvette is a quick car around Monza. It's got the aerodynamics, it's got the speed, even though it's got only 330 horsepower, but you can see that he's able to keep up with the Porsche quite easily there. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how they do throughout the course of the race there. Chai's managed to drop a little bit more time there. Again, it's hard racing up at the front of the field there. Nizam Mustafa all over the back of Chai. This battle's been going on for quite some time now. We're at the halfway mark here, lap 8. We'll probably go to a lap 16 or lap 17 at this pace. But let's see how Chai handles the pressure there from Nizam. Two very, very quick drivers and two very different type of machinery. One front-engine rear-wheel drive FR layout. Another one is mid-engine rear-wheel drive or MR layout. And very different handling characteristics as well. Chai there going in, covering the inside line as is his want there. He drops a little bit more time, 2.5 seconds. It looks like for Chai, the strat is going to be to try and lose some time coming into Ascari and to lose some time perhaps coming into the final corner there, the Parabolica, and hopefully have enough laps in the race to try and drop some more penalty time. But if he gets any more, he's going to be in a very difficult situation.
Whoa, this race is going to seems so intense for the 3rd and 4th position right now. Sorry, Max, I had my mic on mute for the broadcast, so I was talking with you alone.
Whoops.
Yeah, but now I'm on live. Hi, everybody. I'm Khairul, and I'm with Max. I'm observing the race and controlling the broadcast cameras. So I hope for the viewers, hope that you like the stream, and please do share it around. And since this is our first time broadcasting GTS, we hope to improve more and more after this, and we look forward on doing more events.
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments if for any ideas for future events or any improvements that we can make for our Gran Turismo Sport coverage. It's a fantastic game to play, and it's a fantastic game to broadcast for. Absolutely beautiful, stunning visuals that we're watching here, and some very exotic cars racing with each other. Indeed, Mio Hafiz still has that problem right now. He's dropped 3 seconds between himself and Sugi, and he's still got that 0.8 seconds penalty. 8 tenths is quite a lot. It will slow you down quite a bit there, and I think he's been just trying to drop as much time as he can. Now, there's a bit of a debate as to whether to drop the time all at once and go for it again, or to try and drop the penalty as they're doing. It looks like the front runners are dropping the time bit by bit over the course of the laps. Obviously, we still have 12 minutes to go in the race, so perhaps the strat now is to try and drop the time as much as possible in the braking zone. So if you don't have a car behind you, you can drop the penalties down just by a few tenths. But if you do pick up a penalty in the dying laps of the race, now that could be a real disaster. But it does mean that the penalty system becomes sort of makes you drive very strategically, very tactically, to try and minimize the time loss from trying to serve that penalty. You still have to serve that penalty, you still have to drop time, but of course if you drop all the time at once and you slow down too much, there is a possibility that you won't be able to actually there is a possibility that you'll actually be able to drop too much time. So right now we have a pit stop here. That's Nizam Mustafa coming into the pits right now. He's going to sit there. It looks like they're holding him for a little bit while they chuck the fuel into the car. Let's see if he'll be able to tear out of the field. It looks like he may have picked up some damage, or maybe it really is going to be a pit stop race. But Nizam Mustafa comes out on track in 7th place, and now he's in a battle with the GTR of Juwaidi there, coming into the braking zone there. That lime green GTR been going quite quickly throughout the course of the race there, chasing after expat champ in the Veyron. So we've got a real battle on our hands right now. We've got a 4-wheel drive mid-engine car, a 4-wheel drive front engine car, and a FR layout Corvette, the 6th, 7th and 8th, and it looks like the battle is going to be with Juwaidi and Nizam. So the interesting thing is to see where Chai comes out in all of this, because of course he's the first man going into the pits there. Chik Pao is in 5th, and it looks like Chai has picked up another penalty. He's back up to 1.9 seconds, so that's going to be very tricky for Chai to try and get rid of it in as clean a way as possible. He's managed to drop quite a bit there. He's gone all the way down to 1.4 seconds, but it's going to be a real challenge to try and drop that penalty time. But the main thing is he is 7 seconds ahead of that Ferrari in the background there, Chik Pao, with expat champ and Nizam further behind. With 10 minutes to go, let's have a quick look at the top 5 there. Sugi is up in 1st place with Danish Zafran in 2nd, and Mio Hafiz is in 3rd, but he's gone into the pits as well. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where he comes out. He still comes out in 3rd place. He's got a 0.2 of a second penalty. He'll be able to get rid of that quite easily coming into the braking zone here. Chai, meanwhile, he's right behind Mio Hafiz. A 5-second gap there. I do believe he still has a pit. He still hasn't pitted quite yet, so it'll be quite interesting to see how
he hasn't entered the pits yet.
Yeah. So we're starting to see pit lane strategy come into force here around Monza. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how these guys handle it. Of course, some of the drivers thinking that a earlier pit stop, get themselves on fresh rubber, fresh load of fuel. To try and get themselves to the end. They have accelerated wear and accelerated fuel consumption as well, so quite difficult car to drive, these cars, with all of those settings turned up. Again, 2,800 pound weight limit, 330 horsepower limit as well, and accelerated wear rates, so it's going to be really, really difficult to try and manage this over a course of the race. Mio Hafiz down to 1/10 of a second penalty coming into this braking zone here. He'll clear that penalty and no problems there. For safety reasons, when they're serving the penalty, the cars get ghosted so that they're not impeding any of the drivers there. But definitely interesting stuff indeed. Sugi in 1st, but he's gone into the pits right now. So let's see if Danish Zafran is able to pick up 2nd place, and will Mio Hafiz get himself up a position as well. So Sugi comes out of the pit there. Let's see if he manages to pull ahead of Danish Zafran, and it looks like he's got an entire straightaway to try and get out in front, and he comes out clean. Danish Zafran decides to go into the pits as well. That's why he didn't pick up any more pace there, and it looks like Chai has also gone into the pits as well. There's a flurry of activity in the pits area right now, but for now it's all changed up at the front. Well, almost all changed. The leader of the race still is Suge.
Yeah, this reminds me of AIMC strategy. It's
Yeah,
strategy.
absolutely. That's a brilliant thing about having a race where strategy and pit strategy becomes key, because it really shakes up the order, doesn't it?
Yeah, and this in GTS we have to take also the consideration of the penalties strategy. So it comes in play like very interesting fact here. Like we don't see this in actual races, so it becomes something interesting to observe.
Indeed, it brings a whole new level of strategy to racing. If you pick up the penalty early on, you have all these laps to try and back off and try and claim 10th by 10th, try and reduce that penalty. Right now, Chai has managed to get his penalty down to 0.7 seconds, but he's got 6 minutes remaining, so he's really going to have to think quite hard, and the drivers behind him are pushing quite hard indeed. Chai is there in 4th place with Czech Pal only 2 seconds behind, and Expat Champ there, he is in 6th place chasing down Czech Pal, and this could be a really exciting battle. It looks like it's shaping up to be a pretty epic battle towards the end of the race here. 6 minutes have gone. Czech Pal in 5th, Expat Champ in 6th. Nizam Mustafa is a little bit further behind in 7th place. So there's Nizam Mustafa. He's in a little bit of a safe bubble. He's in fact able to chase up with Expat Champ. Perhaps the slipstream effect helping these drivers sort of catch the car up ahead. If you can see the car up ahead, usually you're not too far away from picking up a slipstream. But further back is Jawaidi in 8th place in the GTR. I believe he's actually the quickest GTR out there. Not a popular car in this power level, in this Group 4 category, although with a little bit more power you can make that GTR work quite nicely indeed. But looks like Jawaidi is able to pedal that car quite nicely. I wonder if there's any action further back in the field there, because the action at the front, quite spectacular stuff indeed. Mio Hafiz is still in 2nd place. He's cleared his penalties. Now he's going to try and catch up with Suge as much as he can. He's got fresh rubber. He's got fresh fuel. He should be able to try and do something along with Sugi up ahead.
Hey, let's just check out some of the guys at the bottom end of the...
Yeah.
I think we're left with 8. What
We
happened
are
to the
left
other
with
guys?
8?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have eight cars on the field at the moment. Jawaidi is in fact in last place, although he's not going too slowly. In fact, he's pushing that GTR as hard as it'll go, trying to catch up with Nizam Mustafa and the guys up ahead. But this shows how difficult it is to catch back up in terms of the slipstream. If you're not in the slipstream, it's almost like an oval race. Meanwhile, Nizam Mustafa getting very close to the back of Expat Champ. It looks like this could be an opportunity for an overtaking maneuver. You can see how agile that Corvette is. It's no longer the case that these Corvettes are sort of muscle cars with two less seats. These cars can handle quite nicely indeed. Now he's going to go up on the inside, coming into the braking zone here. As you can see, the Expat Champ and Nizam. It's going to be an out-braking battle coming into the corner then. It looks like Nizam managing to get that Corvette ahead of the Veyron, but Expat Champ goes in for the switchback. Let's see if he can reclaim 7th place, but it looks like he decides not to go for it, and he's going into the pits for a pit stop. Chikpal right now, he is in 5th place. We also have quite a few other drivers there. I believe Sugi hasn't pitted. Not too sure.
Yeah, I didn't see him pit yet. I don't know whether we missed it.
Could it be that he's waiting until the last possible moment if he has to, or is he trying to get it all the way to the end?
That's
We could be seeing an eco race.
Or maybe we just missed it. Sorry, apologies if we're quite new to GTS, but we'll learn every day of these new features to come up.
Absolutely. But it's either he hasn't pitted yet, or he's managed to pit away from the prying eyes of Alan there.
Okay. Yeah, Faisal Alang said he has pitted in. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Thanks for the observation. It's our safety car driver, real life safety car driver, Faisal Alang. When are you going to join, boy?
Absolutely. Faisal Alang also does the MSF Cyber Turismo event, which is another event that I believe runs on GTS. Ooh, Mio Hafiz has picked up a 3.7 second penalty with only 1 minute and 56 seconds left on the clock. This is going to be devastating in his attempts to try and catch up to the car up ahead. There is 16 seconds between 2nd and 3rd place. Danish Zafran behind Mio Hafiz there, but trying to lose that 3.7 seconds. He may only have a lap to do it in.
Okay.
So as you can see there, Faizal Alan tak sempat nak join, dah penuh tadi. Sorry.
Yeah, we may be extending this race. I don't know. We'll get info from our hosts. So stay tuned for that.
Indeed. So do stay tuned for any news. For any of you guys who weren't able to catch us and catch the initial 15 cars, do keep your eyes and ears open. We may get Taichi to do another slot, or we may figure it out as we go along. But so far, it's been an absolutely amazing race right now. 54 seconds left on the clock. It looks like Suge might complete another lap going around the Ascari chicane. It's going to be a bit of a race against the clock here. He's got to put his foot hard down, or he could back off and ensure that it's a 15-lap race if he is fuel saving.
It all depends on his right foot.
Absolutely. So 30 seconds left on the clock. It looks like he's going fast enough to be able to actually make it towards the line there. Now again, it's debatable as to whether there is enough actual time to back off through that last lap, but it looks like he'll have to do another lap there with 15 seconds left on the clock. He starts the final lap of the Adrenaline Impact GTS Group 4 Invitational here at Monza. Hard on the brakes coming into the first chicane. They're very, very hard to try and get a clean lap through here. A clean line, rather, through here. 7.3 seconds, it looks like Sugi might be able to hold that lead all the way to the end. He has got no penalties. He is, it appears, pretty much all clear at the moment. So, as you can see there, the red light flashing. It is 16 laps. Final lap right now for Sugi, and with quite the gap between himself and the car behind, it looks like it's going to be all over for them. Danish Zafran has in fact finished the race already in third place. Chai is in fourth, Chipao is in fifth, Nizam Mustafa is in sixth place. But right now we're seeing almost a lap of honor there for Sugi.
We've got info. We're gonna do a second slot. So anybody that has not had the opportunity to join our lobby, please stand by.
Absolutely. Make sure you are in the Discord server as well for the briefing, and you will be able to join us in this event. So we've had the invitational guys up. Now it's your chance at home to have a go at this race. A very tricky race indeed for these guys to head up there. But Suge, he's on his way to the final corner. There's another lot between him and the first race win here for GTS on Adrenaline Impact. Around the legendary Parabolica turn there, it looks like he's holding the line on the inside. He's got the lights flashing. He knows he's in the lead. And it's Sugi who comes home in first place. Mio Hafiz is second place on the track right now. He's going to come across the line and take home a podium position with Danish Zafran in third place, completing the podium. So we'll have another look there at the standings. It's Sugi from Mio Hafiz, Danish Zafran, Chai, Chikpal, Nizam Mustafa, Expat Champ, Jawaidi, and Spirit GT3. And quite a few DNFs further down the field, isn't there?
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate, but you can try out for a second one, or if there's still space, you can please do join us the second race. So for the meantime, we're gonna have a quick break, and we're gonna sort out the lobby, and please stay tuned.
And we're back. Good evening. We have a fantastic bonus race lined up for you guys out there. We're now in the Super Formula cars, and showing off another neat trick of Gran Turismo Sport is the fantastic weather effects that are on the system. We're at Spa-Francorchamps in the Super Formula cars for a quick Invitational Super Formula race. We're watching Nizam Mustafa right now out on track, and yeah, what can you say? An open-wheeled single-seater car around the legendary Spa circuit, and being a Super Formula car, it's the fastest race car outside of Formula One to race exclusively on road courses, and part of the big three of single-seater racing worldwide. Fantastic pictures we're seeing right now going on board through Blanchimont here. This is Expat Champ that we're riding on board with. Let's see if we can get a on-board lap from the Expat Champ. Now, of course, a important thing to get right at the start of any lap is the corner before we're going through the bus stop chicane here, and it's very critical to try and keep the oversteer down to the minimum. Coming out of the corner there, oof. Very sideways there from Expat Champ. The car sliding all over the place, but just about managing to keep the car in a straight line to start the lap. Now coming into La Source, hairpin, very tricky here. He's going to have to use a wide line and then some just to try and keep the car going in a straight line. Now he's going to go down through past the old pits and into one of the most famous corners in all of motorsports, Eau Rouge. Now he's going to have to probably lift through here. Nope. Still absolutely hard on it, coming through Radion and onto the Kettle Straight here. Now going through the gears there and just building speed as much as possible. Heading towards the braking zone here. He's going to try and brake just before the 50-meter mark there, and go and tiptoe through the chicane at the end of the Kettle Straight here. Now he is heading down to the Brussels hairpin. Very hard to try and keep the car going through here. You can see the amount of understeer that the car's picking up through there, and that just goes to show how greasy, how wet the situation is out there. Through No Name, very tricky trying to drive the wet out here, because the curb on the outside can really catch you out. Now going through Pouon, very fast left-hander here, and it's a very high downforce corner there, so you're really going to have to keep on it, stay on it, and keep the car speed up to try and stay on the road, then use the downforce to keep the car on the track. And now just gently going through this left-right hander and on the way up to La Carrière, where the new track that was built in 1985 that we've been driving on for the majority of this onboard lap rejoins the old track. You can see actually where the track rejoins again. That's the old tarmac on the left-hand side. We're racing on the new tarmac that gradually joins up here, and now we head over to Blanchimont, the only corner that's unchanged since 1923, and still a very big challenge there, as you can see. Very high-speed left-hander, and now he's coming into the braking zone here to try and complete a lap. Will he be able to keep the car in a straight line coming out of the bus stop chicane? It looks like it's nice and neat and dead straight coming out of the corner there. Just a little bit of walking as the rear tires light up on the greasy surface, and it's across the line. As you can see there, these cars are not really too happy about seeing the wet weather course. It's going to be a very challenging race for all these drivers out there. Sugi, the winner of the last Group 4 race we've had this broadcast, really dancing the car around the track as well. But Expat Champ looks like he is up in front with Sugi in second, and Spirit GT3. Ooh, looks like Sugi has managed to get a quicker lap time. He goes up into first place with Expat Champ. Ooh, and Spirit GT3 has gone faster as well. So the times are tumbling right now in the course of the race. Thanks to Sharul and Hafizal there for the likes and the follow as well. Had to lean into the monitor there just to make sure. So Right now we're out on track there. We can see Akai Suse has managed to get himself up into second place as well. 3.2 seconds, clipping the wall on the barrier there. Really very high speed stuff going through the La Source. Through Eau Rouge there and onto the Capital Straight. Let's see if he's going to stay in the spray. Nope. One of the drivers there up ahead giving way. So Akai Suse now hard on the gas, trying to get that lap time down. He's 3.2 seconds slower than the lead car there of Sugi, so it's going to be very tricky for him to try and bring that lap time down. But in wet weather racing, you really do have to be adaptable. You have to really try and look for the best racing lines out there. And oftentimes, the best racing line in the wet isn't the same as it is in the dry. So very tricky stuff. Mustafa, it looks like he's getting on some intermediate tires and 100 liters of fuel there in the pit stop.
Yeah, we're just going to mention here, Akai Suise was, I think his real name is Kamal Ali.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Wait. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. And if he were to be Kamal Ali, he is our rookie of the season for XOX season 1.
Yes, indeed he is. So Kamal Ali, the rookie of the season, and second in the amateur class, I believe, for the XOX Esports Challenge on iRacing season 1. So a very talented driver across multiple sims there. Akai Suse really pushing that car hard through these high-speed sweepers there, and coming into the braking zone very, very neat and tidy indeed.
Let's see how he gets the timing for this lap.
So we're coming across the line. Ooh, big sideways movement there for 6th place man Juwaidi.
He goes second. That's nice.
So he moves up into second place there, 0.6 seconds behind the leader. Not too sure what the lap times are, but they would be going fairly quick around here, just looking at it visually. Juwaidi there in third place ahead of Spirit GT3 in fourth. Expat champion fifth. That was the man that took us for a ride along of the Spa Francorchamps circuit. Buddy Russell there. We've got the telemetry on, so we can see.
Okay, here you go. Sorry, Mac.
That's all right. I was just going to say, I saw the telemetry on. It's like, ooh, dials.
I was looking for the best lap, well, I didn't manage to find it. Yeah, but I found something else that's interesting. We have telemetry, lap telemetry.
Absolutely, you'll be able to see the braking and the throttle input as well. There is 2 bars on the braking there, the white bar and the red bar, and that's, I think, something to do with lock-up rates. Not too sure there. Someone at the saying that saya baru dapat lesen L. Lah, lesen P pun belum dapat lagi. So now diving through the course there, moving up to 270 kilometers an hour before going through the gearbox here. And it really is the case that these cars are frighteningly quick.
Yeah, Muhammad Juwaidi. Yeah.
There we go, driving the Super Formula car with a Honda engine. These cars have an open engine formula with Honda and Toyota supplying engines through series. 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engines, putting out anywhere up to 750 horsepower. Custom racing engines that are specific to Super Formula. So a real big buck series, very, very quick cars. These are some of the quickest road course cars out there. Very, very quick things indeed.
I think we got info that the race is going to be a shorter one if we compare to the first race. So stay tuned for that. Yeah,
15-minute sprint race. Just as a bit of a bonus for you guys who tuned in for the Group 4 race earlier, we've got another race coming at you right now, the Super Formula Invitational. Supposed to be the Spirit GT3 there, running a rather fetching McLaren themed livery on his Super Formula car there. Let's see how he goes through this section here. Ooh, Galeri running off the track there. It's very, very tricky to try and keep these cars in a straight line there. You can see the car oversteering and understeering there. Flash of the yellow flags as he comes through the bends here. A lot of understeer and a lot of oversteer being suffered by these drivers. Mainly understeer through the slower corners there, so it's very interesting to see. These cars also have a push-to-pass overtaking system, so it'd be interesting to see how they use that through the course of the race. See the turbo boost gauge as well, flicking up and down as it goes into boost and into vacuum. Fairly interesting stuff indeed. You can actually see what the turbocharger is doing there. You've got the throttle opening, you've got the brakes, you've got the revs as well, and all sorts of things as well. On the very right hand side actually you can see the overtake button, which will come in useful over the course of this 15-minute sprint race. It should be about 5 or 6 laps in terms of race distance.
Yeah, we're going to begin qualifying.
Absolutely, you can see that Taichi Yagami has started the qualifying session, so they have managed to get themselves into as quick a shape as they can for the qualifying.
10-minute session for qualifying.
Absolutely. So they're going to take perhaps a few laps, maybe 3 or 4 good fast laps between all of them there. So now you can see there Uedi Akaisuse coming out there. Sugi was again the fastest driver out on track for that practice session, and we'll see how it goes for the qualifying. The other interesting thing that you guys are going to see out there on the track, as you can see there with the top 3 in the pits, the choice of tyre is going to be very interesting as well, to see what tyres each driver uses. Right now I believe Akai Suse, he's on the intermediate tyres right now, so the track is fairly wet, but not too wet for some of the drivers to take intermediates. You just need a little bit of that cleaning action from the tyres. So for wet weather tyres are a lot like road going tyres. They're designed to take away the water via thread pattern, but the intermediate tyres are a bit more like a semi-slick. There's less grooves in the thread. There's a lot more tread area to try and grip the road a little bit better. So it's a little bit more of a drying, a sort of a tyre for wet to drying conditions, or for when it starts to rain, just to give yourself a little bit more grip when you're out there on track. It looks like he's got plenty of grip there to go through Blanchimont Flat, coming up towards Juwaidi up ahead. Very, very quick stuff. So coming into the braking zone here for La Source, and again it's very tricky situation. Ooh, that's a big mistake there from Akai Suse, who is trying to go for another quicker lap time, but it looks like he's going to have to yield to the rest of the traffic there out on course. But Juwaidi is now in 4th place at the moment. Let's see how well he does in this qualifying session. 7 minutes remaining. It looks like Sugi is still up ahead with Wadi Russell in 2nd and X-Pac Champ in 3rd. All of the top 3 are in the pits right now, and Juwaidi is in 4th.
See that flames. Oof, man.
Absolutely, it's a spectacular side of Super Formula, really showing off what can be done in terms of really increasing the show in comparison to other single-seat formulas like Formula 2 or Indy cars. These cars, of course, 2-liter turbocharged, they have anti-lag system, which means that on the overrun, they will retard the ignition and to have a little air injection system to try and keep the turbocharger spooled up. So a bit of an old school touch on a new form of motorsport, new engine that these guys are running. They used to run V8 engines, then V6s, and various naturally aspirated cars throughout the course of the previous generation. But once they moved to this new Dallara chassis with a lot more power, a lot more grip rather, and they felt they needed more power, so they went to the 2-liter turbocharged cars. And it really is a spectacular stuff. And it's nice to see what is generally an underrepresented form of racing outside of Japan so well represented here in Gran Turismo. But look at the detail on the track there, it's pretty good, eh? So GYD there coming around La Source just to finish another lap and start yet another run down towards Eau Rouge. That's the classic high downforce corner. With these cars, it should be easy, flat. Looks like he didn't back off barely through there. Even in the rain, you can go very quickly through Eau Rouge, despite how tight it appears on first glance. It really is a feat of engineering to get these cars going quite quickly. But it looks like Joaidi managing to get that car up into first place with Spirit GT3 in second and Danish Zafran in third. 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. And really not a lot of time for these drivers out there. Any drivers who are out on track might be able to start 1 or 2 laps to go there. Spirit GT3 in second place, 2.4 seconds behind Joaidi's time. It is very difficult to try and get these lap times. In the wet, generally the gaps begin to grow bigger. The distance between the cars begin to grow bigger as they try and fight with the surface.
Okay, we got some info. We're gonna have a reset for the lobby. Some people are having trouble connecting. So yeah, these issues are way out of our control. So we'll try to remedy it as soon as we get a way to around it. So stay tuned, guys.
Absolutely. So that's an interesting issue that we've had. We've run these offline tests quite a bit, well, off-broadcast tests quite a bit, but sometimes, you know, these niggling technical issues often pop up out of nowhere. So they'll reset the lobby fairly shortly, and we'll be back to some Super Formula action around Spa here on Adrenaline Impact, Gran Turismo Sport.
We're still trying. Maybe we have not decided to reset yet, but we're still observing how many people are still in the room. If it's problematic, we'll probably reset it for a new one.
Yeah, we've got a comment there from Remy J. It's a common PS issue. Yeah, unfortunately, it's being PC nerds for quite some time through the course of the previous lockdown period. We haven't really gotten around to getting our PS4. How would you say the sort of PS4 problem-solving gloves on? But hopefully with a good reset, some of you guys who aren't able to join the server and some of the issues we fixed that. Nice bit of power sliding there from Spirit GT3 to try and get the car rotated around the corner there. You can see the amount of understeer that he's going to have to sort of nurse through some of the corners there, and he's fixing it very beautifully on the throttle. So some old school driving techniques being employed there by Spirit GT3 to try and get the car around the lap as fast as possible. So interesting stuff indeed. we'll see how the qualifying session pans out here. But for now, it's still Suge in first place with Akai Suse in second and Jawaidi in third. Spirit GT3 is in fourth with Danish Zafran in fifth, Nizam Mustafa in sixth, and Zero Blinker GT in seventh.
Sweet sound. What are the engine configuration like?
I believe these are now running a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. But they're not the 2-liter turbocharged engine you'd see in your average Evo or Impreza. These things have about 750 horsepower, so totally custom engines out there. Suge there, best lap 2 minutes 12 seconds. That's very, very fast for Spa. Anybody who's driven a GT3 car around here would know that these cars are just on another level. Now looking upward, now you can see the telemetry there and see how much he's fighting the car going through the corner there. The throttle, sort of hesitantly trying to get on the throttle there. Sugi, our fastest man on tracks for quite a while there. He's now dropped down to second place. So let's see if he's able to improve his lap time going through there. He's bouncing off the rev limiter. He's going up to 292 kilometers an hour coming into the braking zone here. Not a whiff of a lockup before he goes through the bus stop chicane. That's going very fast indeed, considering the weather conditions. You can imagine how frightening it is to be driving on a recently wet road at 80 kilometers an hour in your road car, and imagine doing it at almost 300 kilometers an hour. The interesting thing you can see there is when he goes offline and he picks up a little bit of debris and a little bit of dust on the tires, you can get that sense of whether he's picked up dirt or not by looking at the tire. You can actually see the coloration change, and it's quite an interesting insight into how accurate Polyphony Digital tries to make their games. A lot of attention to detail has been put into Gran Turismo games over the years, with all the cars that they have to put in there and the fantastic tracks. Really interesting stuff indeed. Okay, Suse is now currently our pole position man. He's really pushing that car quite hard going through this corner here. Let's see how he does on the brakes. Only up to 290 kilometers an hour coming into the bus stop chicane. Let's see what lap time he's able to pull out of that car coming across the line.
He ditches it.
Aha. So he decides to not try and go for a quicker lap time. Again, you can see that color being picked up on the tire. It's quite interesting, isn't it? The little details that they try and squeeze in. It's hard to think of it as a PS4 game. It's almost like what you would expect a next-gen game to look like in a lot of respects, with those little details that you see. So right now it's Akai Suse, who is fastest in this session, with Suge in second, Spirit GT3 in third, Joadi in fourth, Danish Safran in fifth, Nizam Mustafa in sixth, Zero Blinker in seventh, with Wadi Rasal and Expert Champ bringing up the rear.
I wonder what the green markers are for.
Aha, so the green markers on the roll hoop actually pertain to that push-to-pass system, an extra 50 horsepower, sorry, extra 80 brake horsepower available to the drivers, and that's just enough power to try and get these cars ahead of the other man. So the roll hoop is an indicator for how much push-to-pass, how much power boost they have in order to try and use that push-to-pass system. Very similar to KERS or DRS in Formula 1. It's a overtaking aid, as you can see, and if you do get the telemetry throughout the course of the race, you'll be able to actually see how much overtake that these guys have. So right now they would probably still be keeping their overtaking maneuvers to themselves. But now Akai Suse is in first place with Nizam Mustafa trying to go in on the inside. Ooh, gets the car on the curb and really all over the place there. This gives the opportunity for Suge to try and go around the outside. He's trying to hang it all the way around the outside, but Nizam Mustafa just about keeping the car up into second place. Now he's going to try and go again around the outside, but he goes wide. He goes wide, and that drops him down a lot of positions there. 3 positions, 4 positions, 5 positions. Virtually the entire field there, managing to get past, and that is a big drop there for Suge. He's going to have to try and fight all the way back up the field. Spirit GT3 is the biggest gain, is the biggest winner out of that situation. He's up into third place, chasing after Nizam Mustafa and Akai Suse. Really dancing around the back there. Nizam pushing hard there, getting the car very sideways, but if you can hang on to the car when the car is sideways, you can see how much time he pulls just through that section alone. Getting the balance right in these conditions is absolutely crucial. Jawaidi is right behind there in 4th place, and he's trying to look around the inside, around the outside. Let's see if he's able to use that draft and the draft alone to try and outbrake Spirit GT3 coming into the bus stop. Hard on the brakes for both drivers there, and it looks like Jawaidi will still be behind for yet another straight, but this isn't over yet. You can just about see the serial number on that front wing. That's how close this racing is. Absolutely fantastic stuff there, but as we finish lap 1 and go into lap 2, Akai Suse in the lead with Nizam Mustafa in second and Spirit GT3 in third.
Very struggling for traction there.
Absolutely, these are some of the hardest conditions to drive a race car in. The track gets so slippery when there's this amount of water out there. It pulls all of the grease and all of the rubber out of the track, and it makes the rubber very slippery. So the racing line, which is usually rubbered up in the dry and very grippy, actually becomes quite slippery in the wet, and that can really change the dynamic throughout the course of the race there. You can see the wet patches there. Nizam gets a big tail slide coming out of that section there, and Spirit GT3 mugs him up on the inside, but he goes wide. He locks up and he goes wide just the same as on the previous lap with the previous driver there, and he drops down, luckily only down to third place. Nizam Mustafa is in second with Akai Suse still in the lead. But so far, very clean racing, no penalties as of yet. But still, a lot of action all the way through the field. Nizam Mustafa getting a bit wide through Buon there. And now coming up to the Fanyas chicane. Let's see if any driver can make a difference going through there. You can see the anti-lag firing off those big blue fireballs. Coming very close there, Jawaidi to Nizam coming into La Carrière. Very tricky stuff indeed. Nizam goes wide, and this sets up a side-by-side run through, coming outside of Stavolo and on to that back straight there, and it looks like Jawaidi has managed to get ahead of Nizam Mustafa, but Nizam's still going very quickly indeed. There could be an opportunity for overtake. I'm sure they're both on the button. Oh, very spectacular stuff on the outside there. Nizam still on the outside. Now he manages to claim the inside there. The cars are going 2 wide, 3 wide, all of them finding a way around. Danish Zafran and Jawaidi going side by side, both cars. It's going to be a drag race coming up towards the line there, just struggling for grip. You can see the cars moving left, right, and center. 3 wide, 4 wide, coming into the first corner there. And it looks like Nizam managing to get up into second place, but it's still not over yet. Sugi has come from all the way behind, and he's managed to get himself right up to third place. That is a 3-car overtake. Absolutely spectacular stuff. And they're still side by side going through Eau Rouge and Radion. And it looks like finally the car's having to at least briefly go back in line, but absolutely spectacular racing there. 4 wide going down the main straight, and still not over. As you can see there, Jawaidi, he's dropped down another place off the draft there, and it looks like Danish Safran's managed to get himself up into 4th. So the standings they are at the moment. Akai Suse well ahead, but Nizam Mustafa is in second, Suge is in third, Danish Safran is in 4th, and Jawaidi is in 5th. And cars from second place all the way down to sixth. It's a massive battle to try and get some podium positions there. And they can actually see Akai Suse further up the road there. You can just about catch the spray further ahead. So could they be on course to catching him? Will Akai Suse be able to hang on to that lead? It's going to be a very, very tricky stuff indeed. 9 minutes left in the race, and they're pushing very hard indeed to try and keep ahead in the standings here. Whew. Very spectacular stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. Still battling for a second.
Absolutely, and the battle for second right now involves 5 cars. Naturally. Absolutely brilliant racing there, and it's still not over yet. Still not over yet. Suge is going to try and go around the outside of Blanchimont. A brave move, if there ever was one. Suge going around the outside, just not quite enough grip there, and he has to give way to Nizam Mustafa. But they're going to go into the braking zone here, and ooh, that's a big dive bomb from Zafran there. And there's Danish Zafran who manages to get his way through there, but there's one loser out of that. Juwaidi overshot his braking marks. He is off the track there at the bus stop chicane there. Suge is still in second place, but Danish Zafran is now battling with Nizam Mustafa there for third. They're going side by side coming throughout there, and Suge gets the car very sideways. This could be an opportunity for the cars further behind to try and catch up with Sugi up at the front there. Nizam Mustafa is so far in third. Danish Zafran's in fourth. Spirit GT3 in fifth. This could be a drafting battle down on the Camel Straight there. Look at Danish Zafran getting the grip there, and scary stuff there going on the straight there. Nizam Mustafa tries to close the door, but he decides not to do that ahead of Danish Zafran. Wise move indeed. Nizam Mustafa still managing to keep third place. Danish Zafran in fourth with Spirit. Getting sideways moment there. This is, the conditions must be getting worse there. The tire wear has really kicked in right now. So the tire wear, the tires are starting to go away from a lot of these drivers there. Danish Zafran trying to keep this position, but Nizam Mustafa managing to go around the outside. Now he's on the inside for No Name, and he manages to get up into third place, but Danish Zafran goes off track. Danish Zafran is the next driver of this battle to go off track, and now it's a battle between second, third, and fourth place. Very unfortunate stuff indeed. Nizam Mustafa still in third. It looks like Sugi has managed to drop these 2 drivers, but the battle for the last step of the podium is still on between Nizam Mustafa and Spirit GT3. Very, very interesting stuff indeed. Car just going sideways every which direction but straight. What a race. Nizam Mustafa there in third place. Spirit GT3 in fourth. Will Spirit GT3 try a move coming into the bus stop chicane? Let's go on board with Spirit GT3 as he tries and catches Nizam Mustafa going through there. Looks like it's a bit too far back to try anything through here, but he can close up the gap, and he does so quite nicely. A little bit of dry tarmac there just to help the car turn more than anything else. But now he closes right up. He's got the apex speed on Nizam Mustafa, but Nizam seems to be able to drive that car out of the corner a little bit better than Spirit GT3 at the moment. But hard on the brakes there. Very tricky stuff. Coming out of the corner there, Spirit GT3 gets the car very sideways, and still manages to keep that foot down. And it looks like Nizam Mustafa, in his epic battle to try and keep third place, it looks like he might finally have a breather. We're at the halfway point of the race right now, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, not the halfway point, sorry. We're 2/3 of the way home there. Akai Suse in first place, Mitsuge in second, Nizam Mustafa in third, Spirit GT3 in fourth, Danish Zafran in fifth, and Juwaidi in sixth place. There's about 2 or 3 more laps still to come, and there's a lot of drama coming up ahead, I'm sure of that. You can see the cars really wiggle and squat as they come out of the corner there, and you can see there Nizam Mustafa, he's beginning to struggle. He's not quite able to hug that apex as well as he did at the start of the race. The car is looking a little bit nervous at this back half of the track, and could be a setup issue. It could be tire wear that's starting to play a factor, or it could be tires itself. Spirit GT3 is actually on full wet tires. I believe if we can have a look at Nizam Mustafa's tires, I think he is on, in fact, the intermediate tires, and that could be a big factor there. Spirit GT3 doing lap times of 2:15 at the moment, and pushing hard there. He's able to catch up with Nizam quite easily through that back half there, which leads me to believe that they're on different tires. And not only are they on different tires, but the race is beginning to evolve away from Nizam and towards Spirit GT3 in terms of grip levels. So very exciting stuff in the Spirit GT3. He's in 4th place, and again, he might just have the grip towards the closing sections of the race there. And you can actually see Danish Zafran is beginning to catch up with these two drivers. So very interesting stuff indeed. Ooh, Nizam Mustafa getting the car very sideways coming out of the bus stop chicane. All sorts of sideways for him coming into the chicane there, into the hairpin. Expect ever the entertainer there deciding to send us a friend request. Well, thank you very much. I wonder how he managed to find the time when he's racing. There's one in every championship, and it's wonderful having these characters on board. They're great stuff in the Spirit GT3 there. He's in 4th place, and Mustafa in 3rd. And you can see now, Spirit GT3, he hasn't got that much push to pass available. Nizam does, in fact, have push to pass there. So the overtake button, as you can see the status of the overtake, you're only allowed to use the overtake for a limited amount. There's an actual gauge in the telemetry system in the dashboard of the car that tells you how much boost that you can have. And you can see there the overtake on the very right-hand corner in the telemetry. On the very right-hand corner, you have another fuel gauge, and that is for the overtake, the power available for overtake. And that's what you can see in the roll hoop of the car as well. If it's red, it means he doesn't have that much overtake left. Nizam's is still green. He's all over the track there. He probably hasn't thought of overtake so far right now, but Spirit GT3 has used quite a lot in his efforts to try and catch up with Nizam Mustafa. Ooh, getting so close he could almost touch the gearbox of the car there, but if you get close enough, and I feel like we could almost just about make out that Nizam Mustafa is on the intermediate tires there. A very equal battle so far, but it could change. The time is running out. We could see a 7 or maybe even an 8-lap race, depending on where Akai Suse is on track. But Spirit GT3 still not giving up there. Akai Suse, he's using that overtake button. As you can see there with the roll hoop, when that light begins to blink, he's actually using that power to try and get away from the field. He's 4.2 seconds away from Suge right now, so they could both see each other on track. And it's a case of him just trying to use that boost to try and get away from Suge. Suse in 1st place. A brilliant drive from him so far. Really pushing that car. Coming into the braking zone here. Nice and smooth. That's the trick to going fast in the wet, is being nice and smooth and being very quick to try and correct the car's attitude. You don't want the car understeering or oversteering too much. But it looks like this could be the last lap of the race, lap 7. Around that bollard there goes Akai Suse, and very smooth driving indeed from the youngster. Perfectly poised so far, but this battle has begun to
Spirit just overtook Nizam.
Yeah, we didn't quite catch that, but it looks like Spirit GT3, despite having no overtake and at one point being almost comfortably in 4th place, he's managed to get himself up into 3rd with Nizam Mustafa in 4th, and now Danish Zafran is in 5th place. So we could have a battle going all the way to the line here. This is the final lap of the race. This is for everything. As you can see there, Nizam Mustafa, he's on the intermediate tires, which in this current conditions really, it looks like Danish Zafran's gone off the track there. But in these conditions, it looks like Nizam Mustafa, car getting very sideways coming out of that corner there. The tires just not holding on for long enough. It looks like the 4 wet tires were the right call for Spirit GT3 and Nizam Mustafa might be ruining the fact that he went with those intermediate tyres in the first place. It really helped him out quite a bit at the start, but not quite at the finish. So now we have the checkered flag there for Akai Suise and Suge, first and second place here for the Super Formula bonus race for the Adrenaline Impact GTS Invitational, with Spirit GT3 taking home the final step on the podium. Fantastic work there from him. Nizam Mustafa in fourth place. And we'll be waiting for Jawaidi and Danish Zafran, who's battling at the back there for fifth and sixth place, sideways on the line, and Danish Zafran spins. Jawaidi managing to get past Danish Zafran, but unfortunately Danish Zafran spins the car around and just didn't quite. He's getting the car very sideways, trying to get the car up into the front of the field. He has lost all grip in that tyre, I can tell you that much. It's a spectacular way of finishing the race.
Yeah. Hey, hi Taichi.
Yes. Hey there.
Hey,
so
man.
how is it? So how's the racing been so far for you?
Well, everything looks fine though. And especially at the first turn, 4 wide, in the wet. Oh man,
It's incredible.
it's incredible. Yeah, it's really nice though.
I mean, we were both shouting over each other there, just coming in there. You just never see that in any sim. But 4
Oh,
wide
man.
coming into the first corner there, and they actually managed to get out without too much incident or difficulty. But that
yeah.
battle in the midfield was another thing. For 2 or 3 laps, they were really chopping and changing positions. It was quite intense at times there.
Yes, and it's in the wet as well though. They managed to make that 4 wide look exciting.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. Really is.
It's not easy to get that kind of racing in the wet, because we know if wet, everything bad is gonna be happening, especially as the exit.
Absolutely. We've seen some of those drivers turning stages here coming out of those corners, putting the car full sideways. You've seen some code brown opposite lock moments there that look quite strange.
Oh yeah, it does. Oh yeah.
I'm sure someone must have. The conditions were horrible for the Super Formula cars out there, and there's quite a lot of skill being put on display there. But it's amazing the level of racing out there, and not a single penalty. Quite the race.
Yeah, but then again, it is wet. Everyone's trying to be careful not to go off track, and especially when they're around racers, they really need to keep the gap consistent as well. If not, probably they might hit someone else as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's not going to do your race any good. Doesn't matter whose fault it is, but when you both get knocked off the track, your chances of winning decrease exponentially, shall we say.
Yeah, that's true.
Alrighty, so we're going to wrap this stream up. Thank you so much to Ahusuhaimi, aka Taichi Yagami, for joining us and for hosting the stream. Thank you so much. It really is an eye-opener to the world of Gran Turismo Sport. We have a lot of the guys talking about it the previous year, so this year, and we're so interested and excited to have this race on it. So pretty spectacular stuff.
Thank you as well, though, for bringing me on.
No worries. Anytime. Mate. And thank you to all of you guys who agreed to join us and jump on board with this invitational race. Hope you guys enjoyed the game race and spectacular stuff. Good luck. And you guys have Was an absolutely spectacular race. Again, thank you so much to Taichi Agami. Thanks to Carol, and thanks to all of you guys who were racing there. You guys had put on a great show for us. Spectacular stuff indeed. And most of all, thank you guys at home for all the comments, all the interaction there. Fantastic stuff. All of you guys tagging and sharing the stream. It's been absolutely brilliant to have you guys watch the race. Hopefully we'll be able to do more with ourselves and Taichi, and hopefully we'll be able to do some other cool stuff in other sims as well. So do stay tuned to Adrenaline Impact for more. Thank you to our media partner Galeri Kereta, and we'll see you all in the next race.